crowd. Roof is open. Hot, humid, but sunny weather as we get started here in 2015. Chip and Joe back upstairs here at Marlins Park. What a year for the Braves in the offseason. Just 6 players remained on the opening day roster from last year. 12 trades, Joe. Can you remember a time where the Braves have had this much roster turnover?
No, I don't remember it at all. Chip, sounds like the Jets were a little late, but that's okay. The fact that everybody keeps talking about a retooling, a revamping. No, this was a complete overhaul. When you've only got 6 players back from last year, that's quite a difference in one season. Take a look at some of these new names. A lot of veterans in there, and guys like Jason Grilli, who now will be the guy at the end of the ball game, have made a marked improvement and have made their mark in the clubhouse with some of these younger players. They are welcome additions.
Great opportunity, great turnover, and for Freddie Gonzalez, great fun. So he says as he chatted with Jen Hildreth earlier today.
Well, Freddie, I think the number that stands out is 6. That's the number of guys on this year's opening day roster that were on last year's opening day roster. For you as a manager, what kind of opportunities and challenges does a roster like this present?
It's fun. It really was fun spring training right from the very beginning, and I think that and one reason it was fun, there was opportunities, you know, and when you have opportunity, you have competition, it creates a little different energy. We bring a totally different dynamic of a club offensively anyway. To the 2015 season, you're going to see some stuff. You know, you're going to see some guys get in motion. You know, maybe squeeze, do the safety squeeze, just to get some runs. But from what I saw in spring training, we really did a nice job cutting down on strikeouts.
Now my question will be a little more specific after yesterday's news.
I couldn't believe it took you this long to ask that question.
I know, I waited, right? Well, you know, for the last 4 years, it hasn't been a question. You have a 1-run lead in the 9th. Now with Craig Kimbrell gone, who do you go to in that situation?
Well, we got 2 good options. We really do. We got Jim Johnson and we got Jason Grilli. We're going to go. We talked to both of those guys this morning, Roger and I, and we're going to go with Jason Grilli. And the only reason is because Jim Johnson gives a different dynamic in the middle of the game where he could go an inning in the 3rd or inning in 2/3 and be able to do that and withstand that. But you know what? I feel confident in both. You know, obviously we lost the best closer in baseball for the last 3 or 4 years, arguably, and it was nice to be able to manage the game and be able to know that he's got the 9th. You know what? I'm still going to do it the same way. You know, you got Jason Grilli, who's done it in a pennant chase for the Pirates. Jim Johnson is not too far removed from back-to-back 50 save seasons. So, you know, the way you go about it might be a little different, but you feel confident that those 2 guys could do the job.
Great to hear from you, Freddie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chip.
Ready? All right, Jen. So, Joe, let's analyze the Braves pitching staff. Here are the 12 guys Freddie's breaking with camp.
Well, Shelby Miller was a great addition with the deal coming over from the Cardinals for Jason Hayward. Actually, Alex Wood is looking to really step up this year after really, I think, getting his feet firmly planted in the big leagues last year. He knows what it takes. Stoltz and Cahill were good additions to the back of the rotation until Mike Minor comes back. If there's a question mark right now, and this kind of permeates through the whole ball club, it's the middle relief. It's not Grilli, it's not Johnson. It's the guys between the starters and those guys. And there are some candidates certainly who have a chance to step up and make a name for themselves. We'll see how that turns out because that's a worrisome problem right now.
4 rookies in the bullpen, too. We'll see how that works out for the Braves, who have emphasized a unique and new style of play. A new-look offense. Braves are featuring small ball. And Freddie Freeman and others will talk about that with you when we come back to Miami after this. Right stuff, the low price every day. Beautiful day for baseball in Miami. The Braves and Marlins tee it up on opening day here in 2015. Freddie Freeman and the Braves are ready to go with a new look offense at the start of this young season.
In my opinion, we're kind of built like the Royals a little bit more this year. You know, we don't have a lot of guys that will hit the ball at the ballpark. We have a lot of guys that make contact and don't strike out as much. A lot of speed guys that put pressure on the bases. And I think that's, you know, obviously we had this lineup in 2013 that did really well, and we had pretty much the same one last year, and it didn't work out. So we're doing a different lineup this year. So hopefully we were able to put pressure on the defense a little bit more and produce some more runs this year.
Your thoughts on what you saw from the Braves bats this spring?
I don't really think about it as small ball. I think it is a bunch of guys that know how to play. They know how to put the ball in play. They know how to hit in different counts. And I think you're going to see a very exciting brand of baseball, one that's fun to watch.
Now, the most important question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Opening day is ready to go. Starting lineups, Braves and Marlins. Let's get it going. We're live from Marlins Park. Time to play ball in South Florida next. Look at the Braves batting order presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Freddie Gonzalez told me this spring a chance to be the most flexible batting nine he's had since he's managed the Braves. Eric Young Jr. leads off. He's the center fielder. Jace Peterson, the rookie, will bat and play second. Markakis in right. Freddie Freeman, the cleanup man, played every game for the Braves last year. Christian Bethancourt had a good spring. He's hitting fifth. Kelly Johnson platooning with Johnny Gomes in left field. Alberto Callaspo gets the start at third base. Andrelton Simmons eighth. Julio Teheran will pitch and bat ninth. And he'll face Marlins right-hander Henderson Alvarez, who gets the ball on opening day for the Fish.
Henderson Alvarez had a good year last year for the Fish. He's almost 25 years old, 6 feet 205 out of Venezuela. This is his fourth year in the big leagues. These are his numbers from last year. A 2.65 ERA was sixth best in the National League. His home ERA was even better. He was 7-2 in this ballpark with a 1.60 ERA. That was the best home ERA in the major leagues. Throws hard, good hard sinker, and he actually has a hard changeup too. It's only about 4 or 5 miles an hour off his fastball, but a good hard fastball, sinks, changeup, and a slider.
With that sinker, he will rely on a much improved Marlins defense this year. And they too have a lot of new names on their infield. Michael Morse will be a marked improvement over Garrett Jones at first base. Our old pal Martin Prado's their starting third baseman. D. Gordon came over from the Dodgers. He can fly. Some say, Joe, the Marlins have the best young outfield in the major leagues with Yelich, Ozuna, and, of course, Giancarlo Stanton in right.
Yeah, arguably the best defensive outfield in the game. All of them are center fielder types. They all have good arms.
And, of course, the benefit for a guy like Anderson Alvarez is a chance to, as you said, pitch in this gigantic ballpark. What a great place to pitch, and those numbers you mentioned a moment ago prove the point. He is ideally suited to pitch here at Marlins Park.
Yeah, he only gave up 14 home runs last year in 187 innings, and a lot of that due to the vastness of this ballpark that's 418 with a high wall and straightaway center. A lot of empty seats here today, though. Chip, I thought this city would be on its ear for all the improvements they made in their club.
But a larger than normal crowd when the Braves take on the Marlins here in South Florida. So we're ready to go. Eric Young Jr. is going to lead things off. Those are his numbers as you see. Homer, 17 RBIs, stole 30 bases, and scored 48 runs in 100 games last year. So we'll see what he has in store for us to start the game against Alvarez. We're underway with a quick strike to Young. D. Gordon's first chance. And there's the sinker ball at work. Young grounds out, and we're underway in Miami.
One of the things about Alvarez, too, were the batting average against him on various pitches. First pitch, if you go up there looking for a good pitch to hit, you're probably going to get one because he likes to get ahead. He's a sinker baller. He wants to be ahead in the count, get you to chase his pitch. First pitch numbers, 338 average against him.
So here's your first look at Jace Peterson, a man who came over from the Padres, and he had a great spring and really impressed the Braves coaching staff with the way he plays the game, the way he handled himself in the locker room, and obviously his spring numbers. And he has the first hit. So Peterson has the first hit of the year, and he's aboard in front of Nick Markakis.
What a great start for him in a Braves uniform. He's built a little bit like Grady Sizemore. He used to be with the Indians, now with the Phillies. Strong former football player. Braves fans are going to love Jace Peterson.
So Nick Markakis gets his first at bat as a Brave. You'll recall Nick had off-season neck surgery, and there was some concern he wouldn't be ready for opening day. He said he was 95% sure he would play a couple of days ago. Well, it's 100%. He's in after just 25 at bats in regular game action down in Orlando.
It's not very often that you start a season and your first three hitters were not with your ball club last year. That's what's cool about Eric Young Jr. and Kelly Johnson being in the lineup today. They came to camp on minor league contracts and made the club.
And Alvarez balked. So Peterson will move to second on a balk.
See what he did here. It was probably for not pausing long enough. It was just kind of one continuous move.
So Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, spotted that right away. And Markakis, now an even count. A lot of eyebrows were raised with the Braves' turnover and roster that they signed Nick Markakis. 4-year contract. He signed through 2018. And he's got a shot up the middle for a hit. Here comes Peterson around third. Ozuna loads up. His throw to the plate hits off the base of the mound. And Nick Markakis puts the Braves in front with back-to-back singles. It's 1-0 here in the first.
Welcome to the Braves, boys. Base hit, balk. capitalizing with some clutch hitting. Nick Markakis, as Jen said earlier, only Ichiro has played in more games in the outfield and has more hits than Nick Markakis over the last 5 years. The guy's a player.
So back-to-back hits with one out. Braves lead by a run, and here's Freddie Freeman. And to say Freddie Freeman, Joe, owes the Marlins some payback, I think, is a dramatic understatement.
Yeah, it was a rough year for him here. Hit just 135 against the Fish last year.
And 288 overall for the season. And a big cut. And that's skied out of play to the left. 1 ball, 1 strike.
310 against everybody else. Wasn't there a stretch where he was like 1 for 40?
44, 1 for 47, some crazy number like that. Let's take care of that here in the top of the first. Little dribbler toward first. Mike Morse will make the play. Markakis at second with 2 outs. So Christian Bethancourt, Braves catcher, hitting 5th for Atlanta. Christian had a good spring at the plate. A couple of nagging injuries sidelined him to a certain degree. Had a little knee problem, had a flu problem, and had 2 teeth.
Yeah, right. It was not what he had hoped in terms of playing time and at bats.
Big cut. And fouled in front of the Marlins dugout.
This is an interesting lineup, I think, today, Chip. I know it's the first day, but already signs of Freddie trying to utilize guys in their on-base percentage, getting on base in front of Freddie, having a little bit of protection here for Christian Bethancourt behind Freddie, trying to figure out who that's going to be during the course of the year. But the 3 guys at the top, all high on-base percentage, they're hoping ahead of Freeman.
Markakis big lead, bouncing ball, Prado at third, backhand stab, and the long throw to first in plenty of time. 5 Braves hit, 1 score. Julio Teheran has a lead as we head to the home first. Hits. Nick Markakis with an RBI single. Here's a look at the Marlins batting order. Academy Sports and Outdoors presents that. This is a deep and effective lineup. A lot of speed at the top with Gordon Yelich. You know about Giancarlo Stanton, led the league in homers last year. Mike Morse will protect him. Martin Prado will bat 5th. Marcell Ozuna hit 23 homers last year in center field. Then Jared Saltalamacchia, Adeiny Echeverria, and Henderson Alvarez. They will face Brave starter Julio Teheran.
There's Julio's numbers from a year ago. Made all his starts. Pitched over 200 innings, had a tremendous year, 14 and 13, 24 years old now, 6'2", 200 pounds. lifetime 4-1 against Miami.
And this is the man you want to keep off the bases, D. Gordon.
Ford keys to pitching success for Julio Teheran today. Will be coming up shortly.
In the air to center. Young is there. And Gordon hits it in the air for out number 1.
I mentioned that he's 4-1 lifetime against Miami. That's pretty good fish hook for him. Last year he was 1-1 with a 2.70 ERA. Only walked 3 batters and struck out 29 in 26 innings against Miami. And also better road numbers. He's old enough now. He's been around long enough now to not let any road jitters get to him. Last year on the road he was 8-9, and his ERA 3.68, quite a bit higher than it was at home.
He'll face Christian Yelich, a star in the making in Miami. New long-term contract signed a couple of weeks ago. Yelich coming off a Gold Glove year last year where he hit .284. Made only 1 error. And is the first Marlins outfielder to ever win the Gold Glove. Well, what a great place to hit. Behind Gordon and in front of Stanton.
You'll see some fastballs when Gordon's on base, and you'll get better pitches to hit when he's ahead in the count, so they don't have to walk him ahead of Stanton. Yeah, the National League East is going to have to get used to seeing a lot of Christian Yelich. He's a terrific young player, and he's been given a long-term deal already.
Missed corner. Now 3 balls and a strike. Deep short. Simmons from the outfield grass loads and gets his man. Good result on a 3-1 count. Yelich grounds out for the second of the inning.
One of the nice things about any matchup between the Braves and the Marlins all year long, 19 times, this is the first of 19, is the matchup of arguably the best 2 shortstops in the National League, too, Simmons and Echeverria.
And here's the man of the hour, Giancarlo Stanton. He takes an inside corner strike. Stanton just 2 for 21 in his career against Julio Teheran. One of those hits, though, a homer. He hit 37 last year. And signed that gigantic $300 million contract after being hit in the face last September.
He missed the last 2 weeks and still hit 37 long ones. Good fastball today from Julio. He's excited, too.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
First at bat of the season. You always want to get a hit that first at bat and get off to a good start. Feel good about what you did in spring training, or even if you had a bad spring. That first hit of the spring, or excuse me, the season, always uplifting.
Taken low for a 4 count. Stanton, as you know, will take a walk. He took a bunch of them last year for the Marlins. 94, in fact. But he won't walk this time. Teheran blew him away with a fastball. 3 up, 3 down. Atlanta 1, Miami nothing after inning 1 in South Florida.
Uverse and Delta Airlines.
Joe and Chip with you from Miami. Jen Hildreth is here as well. Jen did great work for us on Braves Live. Hope you enjoyed all of her interviews before the ball game. We'll hear from Jen a little later on here on opening day in Miami. Kelly Johnson will lead off for the Braves. Getting the start in left field this afternoon. Kelly's second stint with the ball club. You might remember he was part of the wave of baby Braves all the way back in 2005. I believe that was 10 years ago. He shoots one toward Ozuna in center. Ball was knuckling a bit. And he makes the play for the first out.
Kelly got off to a rough start this spring, but then last 3 weeks or so of camp he hit close to 400, hit a couple of homers, bunch of doubles. That's what earned him a spot on the ball club and a start today.
Talked a lot, Joe, about the new approach for the Braves, trying to cut down on strikeouts. I think no one personifies that more than this man. Alberto Callaspo had 69 at bats this spring and struck out one time.
And that's his career. I mean, he's averages about one every, I think it was one every 14 or 15 strikeouts. And in the big leagues, that's ridiculously good.
In the air again. That's where fly balls go to die. Ozuna's going to catch that one, 2 out.
Think about it, though. The second base job. I mean, we already talked about Eric Young and Kelly Johnson being non-roster invitees on minor league deals. He had a second base job that was supposed to go to Callaspo. He was going to be the odds-on guy, or Jose Peraza, the young phenom. And it turned out to be neither one of those guys, but a guy that came over from the Padres and Jace Peterson, who won the job. So those opportunities that Freddie talked about really developed over the course of spring training for some people who wanted the job.
Andrelton Simmons first at bat, and from one shortstop to another. And Alvarez, a perfect 1-2-3 second inning. Mike Morse leads off for the Fish. Atlanta 1, Miami nothing. To this Atlanta Braves ball club in 2015, and even more so on the defensive side of the ball. And for more on that, we will talk with Jen Hildreth. As you see, Alberto Callaspo gets the start at third base. Jim, was that a bit of a surprise today?
Yeah, Chip, I think it was a surprise to a lot of people, including Chris Johnson. Now, Freddie Gonzalez has talked about the term he uses, a soft platoon at a couple of positions, third base being one of them. But, you know, talking to Chris Johnson today, he told me he thought this was the first time in his major league career he was not in the lineup on opening day. And, yeah, he was frustrated and disappointed. He said everybody wants to be out there and play, but he told me he made a point to not be a problem in the clubhouse. He said, I don't want to spoil opening day for all of these other guys who are getting the start and how big this is, how special it is. So he was trying to really be a good teammate today, even though there was certainly some personal disappointment about not being in the lineup.
Well, and part of that surprise, too, Jen, is the fact that Chris Johnson 7 for 15 in his career against Henderson Alvarez with a homer, 4 for 6 last year.
Mike Morse the batter. But the overall season splits last year bear out what Freddie Gonzalez is doing today. Chris against righties last year hit 231, but he hit 395 against lefties.
Right.
A righty on the mound for the Marlins today. Morse went around, says Laz Diaz, the first base umpire. His job real simple. Protect Giancarlo Stanton in this lineup. Morse hit 16 homers last year. And light rain has begun to fall here in Miami.
Looking out through the opening in left field, they better get that roof closed pretty quick. That's more than just a drizzle out there.
Swing and a miss. Boy, he's got a good fastball today. He punches out Stanton and Morse back to back, and there's your first out in the home second.
Both on 94 fastballs. Upstairs too. Got him to chase. One of the things you just talked about with him protecting Stanton, that's quite a big bat compared to Casey McGee. No disrespect to Casey, but he was more of a line drive single guy. Michael Morse can also hit the ball a long way like Stanton.
Here's our old pal Martin Prado. He's having a terrific run with the Yankees until an appendectomy ended his season in September. Martin had 12 homers and 58 RBIs between the Diamondbacks and New York. Fans are in a big hurry to make their way to the concourse, and the roof is now beginning to close.
A little slow on the uptake on that.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I don't think they were counting on that when they said we're going to have the roof open today. Do they even have a tarp?
I don't see one.
I don't either.
And Jeff Nelson's going to call the Braves off the field until the roof closes. Well, who would have thought that?
You know, that's why they built this roof, this stadium this way, is because of these pop-up showers that cause so much havoc over there on the banks of the Miccosukee.
So we are told it takes about 15 minutes for the retractable roof to fully cover the field. So Jeff Nelson has waved the Braves off the field. And we, believe it or not, have a rain delay in a retractable dome stadium.
And they don't even have tarps for home plate or the mound.
Well, there's a whole lot of activity at the first base dugout where the Braves are. Grounds crew is scurrying around trying to find something to cover up the mound and the plate, but you can already see the water starting to pool out near second base, out near the deep hole at shortstop, and a whole lot of brightness right on top of the home plate area. And now at last the grounds crew is rushing out with a tarp to cover the pitcher's mound.
What a great idea. You know, 5 minutes later, they probably forgot they even had one. Good grief. How embarrassing.
You can't beat fun on the banks of the old Miccosukee Canal. As Joe said, 1-0 Atlanta. We're in a rain delay, believe it or not. What a crazy way to start the year. is about 1/3 of the way over the field.
How much does the stadium cost?
Well, by the time it's done, they're going to say about $2 billion.
By the time they pay interest
And all that
paid
stuff.
off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. It's very effective against rain when it's closed.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But they're going to have to do some work on the infield. Look how wet it is already. It's been pouring.
And no sign by the grounds crew even to go get diamond dry or anything to begin those preparations.
Well, they don't have any weights to hold. They're having to use the ground crew to hold the tarp down. They don't have any bags. They're not used to this.
Remember a couple of years ago when we were at RFK Stadium and we had rain delay after rain delay, and that poor grounds crew actually ran out of diamond dry? You remember that night?
I do.
I don't know if that's going to be a problem.
There's the sandbags.
Yeah, but come on, let's go.
Well, there's a big sandbag over there in foul territory. A couple of them.
So the roof will be closed here probably just in time for the rain to stop.
Okay, that's fine.
But leave it on for crying out loud.
But it's still, look out there in the upper deck and left field. It's coming down. So they don't have a sellout.
Nope.
For opening day with this good ball club they put together. Then this. This is like the worst of everything that could possibly go wrong here early. I do like their spreader, though.
It's very effective. We're in a rain delay in Miami, and the roof watch continues at Marlins Park.
And that's David Sampson, his stepson, who is the president of the ball club, and he is on the phone and unhappy.
But Marlins grounds crew did a nice job getting the field in what appears to be pretty good shape. Teheran says the mound is to his satisfaction. He's taken his warm-up tosses and ready to get back to baseball. Braves lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Teheran's retired the first 4 Marlins in order. He's got a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Marlin third baseman Martin Prado.
Nice thing is he could warm up with the pitch that he wants to get him out on right here. Thrown it 2 or 3 times.
And in the dirt. Rain delay of 16 minutes. One would think that wouldn't affect Teheran. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Space is empty. And yanked foul. You mentioned Casey McGee. He was the Marlins third baseman last year and had a remarkable year here in Miami. I think it's safe to say Prado is going to be an offensive and defensive upgrade on McGee.
I think so too. We all know Martin real well and what he brings to the ball club.
Popped up. First base side. Freeman will not have a play. And we join Jen once again.
Julio Teheran, guys, during that delay, he was hovering around that mound like a little kid putting time out, and the second he got the okay, he was up there throwing again. You could tell how frustrated he was. For the rest of the guys, it was a little frustrating, but certainly Teheran the one to watch how he responds.
And he was in a nice rhythm before the delay, and he'll get his man Prado on to come back into the mound. So 5 up, 5 down for Teheran. And that'll bring up center fielder Marcell Ozuna. We mentioned earlier this Marlins outfield, how young, how talented, how prolific they are offensively. I think this guy gets lost in the shuffle with Yelich and Giancarlo Stanton. Look at those numbers for Ozuna, whose season also ended early because of injury last year.
Yeah, I agree, and he was cut short 2 years ago by a wrist injury.
23 homers and 85 RBIs from your center fielder. Not too shabby.
He's not your prototypical rangy looking center fielder either. He's really solid, but covers a lot of ground.
Breaking balls has him behind.
I think, Chip, that their lineup top to bottom is the best in the National League East.
Really?
Better than Washington's, better than the Mets, better than the Phillies. Top to bottom, it's solid. It's got guys that have been winners like Michael Morse, the Giants last year. Got power, speed.
Chopper toward Callaspo. Tough play. He's going to make it. Teheran's retired 6 in a row, and I got good news. Weather Channel says we're good to go weather-wise as long as the roof stays closed.
Excellent.
Georgia Power, and your local Ford dealer.
Terry Pendleton's Most Valuable Player Award. On the 1991 season, TP back in his customary role as the Braves' first base coach. This is, as we mentioned a couple of times, the 50th anniversary of the Atlanta Braves. And all summer long, we'll be showing you flashbacks, and video highlights, and all those wonderful calls and wonderful memories of the first 49 seasons of this Atlanta franchise.
Yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff to watch and reminisce about. I was talking to Terry before the game, and he said the meeting the players had this morning about the trade yesterday and starting the season today, he said they had me ready to go. They had me ready to play. I was ready to get out there and get after it because they were so excited and fired up.
Well, got to be fired up with the way Teheran's pitching. He's set down the first 6. And he leads off the Atlanta third and takes a quick strike. As a player, and you were, when you read the preseason experts' picks for division titles, as Prado will handle at third base, World Series and the like, does that get you fired up when nobody gives you a whole lot of credit or a whole lot of opportunity to win? Like everybody in baseball saying the Braves are going to be maybe the next to worst team in baseball ahead of the Phillies. Yeah,
you take it personally, and I think these guys did during the spring. Nobody popped off. Nobody said anything. They just went about their business, and as a result, I think there were a lot of people, scouts included, who thought the Braves were going to be a sleeper type team because they were being overlooked. And if they can just stay the course offensively, keep doing little things right, then they've got a chance because of their good starting pitching.
Yeah, you pitch, you win usually.
And they've got a good defensive club too.
So we've gone through the lineup once. Eric Young rounded out to second, and he's going to bounce to first. Alvarez broke quickly off the mound and got there in time. He's starting to rack up the ground ball outs, which is his calling card. And 2 are away for Jace Peterson, who had a single and scored the first run for the Braves back in the opening inning.
The other side of it too, Chip, is not just doing the little things by moving runners, sacrifice flies, things like that, but more team speed. You saw Peterson go home to first on a solid single to center by Markakis in the first, and you're going to see Bo Porter waving guys all year. There might be a few thrown out at home, but they're going to take chances. They're going to try to take the extra base whenever they can because they have a lot of guys in the lineup that can run.
Peterson's one of them. He can steal a base for you if he has to. That's a little low. 2 balls, no strikes. Here's an Alvarez, a tough customer. This guy was at his best when Jose Fernandez went down last year. He went 7-2 from late May to early August for Miami. In fact, the Marlins won 10 of his starts in a row. And he gets Atlanta easily in inning number 3. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom part of the order coming up.
This is the first time, and this is the 4th season in this ballpark, this is the first time they've ever had to deal with rain coming down inside, since they do have that retractable roof. They told me they do have a tarp for the field, but it's out in center field, so they couldn't really get out there to it as the rain was coming down. So these guys were hustling, carrying that dirt back and forth. Big thumbs up to them for working hard when they had to, right, guys?
The tarp is in center field?
Yep, on a roller is what I was told.
It would surprise me if Jeffrey Loria wasn't on the phone to Ed Mangan.
How do you handle this rain delay stuff?
It'd help.
I mean, didn't they bring any of the ground crew guys from Pro Player Stadium, where every time you went there you'd have 3 or 4 rain delays a series?
They just didn't need them.
Well, you know, the incomparable Jason Stark is going to have a field day with this. Who would have thought the first rain delay of the season comes in a retractable dome? But it was a 16-minute delay. No harm done to this point. Teheran still crisp and sharp. He's got Jared Saltalamacchia behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
He's gone from 94 fastball to 71 off-speed pitch. Had Salty out on his front foot on that one.
Way upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Teheran had a big year last year. Over 200 innings for the first time through 221 of them. Won 14 games. Had him tied up but missed. Full count.
Made the All-Star team. The only thing he'd like to do differently is probably the last month, but then so would the entire team. He was 1-4 his last 5 starts.
Full count pitch is tipped and caught by Bethancourt, and Teheran has his 3rd strikeout of the game. Jared Saltalamacchia fans.
Another fastball. He's got a good one and he's using it.
You mentioned too, Joe, back-to-back 14-win seasons for Teheran. 2013, Teheran got a little over 4 runs a game to play with. 4 runs of support. He won 14 games last year with a full run less of support. 3 more innings, 3 more strikeouts, etc., etc.
12th lowest run support in the National League.
Got Danny Echeverria next. Going to ground to Callasco. Tricky hop. And a high throw to first. Big wingspan for Freddie Freeman. Saved him a throwing error. And Teheran has set down the first 8.
We talk all the time about how Freddie Freeman saves the infielders a lot of errors because he's able to scoop balls in the dirt. Well, being 6'5" with those long arms helps haul in a few errant throws up high, too.
So Alvarez bats. Marlins pitcher with a no-hitter on his resume. Final day of the season 2 years ago, he was standing in the on-deck circle when the Marlins scored a run in their last at-bat to earn him the no-hit bid. In other words, he pitched the top of the 9th, didn't give up the hit, and was ready to hit when a wild pitch made him a winner against the Tigers. No balls, 2 strikes. Popped up, long run Freeman. Markakis over near the wall and cannot get there. Do it again.
Alvarez was part of that huge deal between the Marlins and the Toronto Blue Jays 3 years ago.
And it was Mark Burley, Jose Reyes. All the big name Marlins went north, and the Marlins took a ton of heat for that trade. But boy, have they reaped the rewards of it. Echeverria, one of those performers, so's Alvarez. Balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Down the left field line, he hung a breaking ball, and that's the first Miami hit. So on an 0-2 pitch, Henderson Alvarez doubles into the left field corner.
was a hanger. One that was kind of thrown at him, so it caused him to flinch and bail. And it played right into him being able to hit it.
Alvarez didn't have an extra base hit last year. He's got his first extra base hit and his first at bat this year. So he's in scoring position for D. Gordon. Gordon lined out to center his first time up. Takes a strike.
Stole 64 bases for the Dodgers.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Gordon didn't think so.
That was a hard late breaking slider, and he didn't read it and couldn't stop his swing, and the Braves may have caught a break there.
That's Corey Blazer at third base. Teheran's got him on a hook. 0-2. Little pop into left center field. That'll get down for a run scoring hit. Alvarez doubles and scores on a Gordon single. We're tied at 1.
We saw this happen a lot last year, Chip. Mistake pitches ahead in the count. This was 0-2. He was ahead in the count to Alvarez, who hit the double. Couldn't make the pitch he needed to get out of the inning and prevent the run.
And just because there are 2 outs doesn't mean you're out of trouble. Here's a great matchup. The speed of Gordon versus Teheran's pickoff move and the arm of Bethancourt behind the plate. Not to mention Yelich in the box. He was leaning, and Teheran with that good pickoff move forced him back.
A lot of loose dirt over there on the infield now from that drying agent. Track should be fairly slow, but the way this guy can run, it may not make any difference.
Half-step bigger lead for Gordon. He's going. Pitch a ball. Bethancourt's throw. Got him. Perfect throw. The Braves win that matchup between Gordon and Teheran, but Miami ties the game at 1 in the third. Fend into our Zaxby's indescribably good play.
Worked as good as a pitch out, fastball away, set up by the two moves over there to hold him close, and then a great throw by Bethencourt. Good fundamentals, good baseball.
So Miami ties the game on back-to-back hits on 2 strike counts. Alvarez with a double, Gordon with the run-scoring single, and now as we head to the 4th inning, Markakis, Freeman, and Bethencourt are coming up. Alvarez has been incredibly efficient. He's thrown 24 pitches over his first 3 innings. In fact, Joey's not thrown more than 3 pitches to any Brave the first time through the order today.
Well, again, I think the scouting report is get him early in the count. He's going to try to get ahead. And then when he does get ahead and put you in a spot where you're trying to protect the plate, he can get you to chase some bad pitches with that sinker.
So 3, 4, and 5 coming up for Atlanta. Markakis with an RBI hit in his first at bat. His second career hit against Henderson Alvarez. That was the strike zone again. Eephus pitch.
He'll throw it 3 or 4 times a game. Not quite as many per game as Livan Hernandez, but very effective here.
0-2. Right off his knuckles, and Morse at first. Covers. 1 out. 8 ground ball outs so far by Henderson Alvarez.
And 9 outs in a row recorded.
He got Freeman to roll out to Michael Morse back in the opening inning. Swing and a miss. It defies explanation. It defies logic to understand how or why one team could do to Freeman what the Marlins did to him at the plate last year.
They did pitch him tough. Talking to him during that stretch last year, he had no explanation for it. It wasn't like he was hitting in a lot of tough luck either.
They locked him up last season. But still, Atlanta went 9-10 against these guys without much offensive help from arguably their best hitter, Freddie Freeman. Ground ball foul. First time he's gone to more than 3 pitches, and Jen did talk to Freddie about his struggles against the Fish.
Yeah, I just about got hit with that foul ball over here too, and Freddie may not have been happy about all that, but you know, in typical Freddie Freeman fashion, guys, he said, yeah, I guess I was just saving up all my hits for this year. And you know, you even got the feeling last year when he was struggling against these guys, 10 for 74, hitting 135, that he never let it get to him.
Well, he's making Alvarez work. And I like the idea of saving the hits this year. 21 strikeouts in those 19 games. That too, not like Freddie Freeman. So first deep count for the Marlins right-hander. This is empty, 1 out. 4th inning. And a looper into right center field for a base hit. So that snaps the 9-in-a-row string retired by Alvarez. Freeman went down and poked that ball solidly, and he's got his first hit of the year.
Well, he had that covered, didn't he? Running away from him. It wasn't just Freddie. The record last year, the Braves were 9-10 against the Marlins. Okay. But the Braves scored fewer runs against the Marlins than any other opponent in the division. They only scored 57 runs. They only hit .228 as a team. And as a group, they struck out about once every 4 at-bats against Miami. So Miami was pitching them tough up and down the lineup. Freddie just happened to be the one that stuck out.
And I was going to say that that's one thing that I think gets overlooked about this Marlins club. They had a fireballing staff last year, and it's going to get even better when Jose Fernandez comes back. This ball's chopped toward third. Prado has to wait for gravity and makes the play. Takes care of Bethencourt. Freeman is second. 4 out number 2.
Yeah, but until such time as Fernandez comes back, the one area that they're most concerned about is their rotation. They've had a few injuries that are kind of nagging them, including Henderson Alvarez, who's had a knee that's been bothering him. Likewise, Matt Latos, who missed time last year with the Reds. He will pitch tomorrow night. He's had a couple of things bothering him this spring. So they are a little concerned about that and a little bit thin in depth in their rotation.
RBI chance for Kelly Johnson with 2 outs. And Kelly takes outside, ball 1. Well, there are no perfect teams. We know that. That might be the Marlins' vulnerability. The Nationals are really banged up at the start of the year. The Mets already had a devastating spring full of injuries. There's a strike, even count.
Good pitch.
So you run them out there, play hard, and see what happens. And the opener today, we're tied 1 apiece. Gordon at second. In between, hop. And another ground ball out sends this game to the home 4th. Yelich, Stanton, and Morse coming up for Miami. We're tied up. Morse, those first 2 names, Joe, part of that remarkable Miami outfield. You mentioned the questions they have with their rotation. There's no question at all about the productivity of their left, right, and center fielders.
Yeah, take a look at those numbers and their rankings, and that's in the major leagues, not just the National League. I read somewhere about these 3 guys. They were the first team since the early 1900s to have 3 outfielders, all under the age of 25, all collect 150 or more hits. Like 1905 was the last time, or only other time it happened.
Some ridiculous number. Yeah, and they're going to be here for a long time. Again, Yelich, big $40+ million contract. Stanton, a $300 million deal. Not sure of Ozuna's contract status. I don't know.
I don't think they have to do anything with him if they don't want to, because he hasn't earned enough tenure.
They had a kid named Jake Marisnick who was supposed to be the next big deal, and Ozuna just frankly outplayed him.
And Yelich too. I mean, he and Yelich came up at the same time.
see that too often. Yelich fooled and down a second strike. What makes Yelich so tough too is he can hit all the right-handed pitchers he sees. He hit 377 against lefties.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, he's such a tough out because he is willing to hit the ball where it's pitched.
1-2. Ooh, little tapper. Jace Peterson got a friendly hop. One man down.
He hit 9 homers last year. Is that right? Yeah. He's going to hit in double figures every year. I don't know how many he's going to hit because he's not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he has that kind of power on occasion. But he's going to hit for a high average.
And that's really what the Marlins want. Get on base in front of this man, Giancarlo Stanton. The fans might forget the Marlins were very much alive in the playoff hunt last year until Mike Fiers hit him with a pitched ball with Milwaukee. And it was a horrific beating. Facial fractures, fractured teeth. And you see the new face shield that Giancarlo Stanton is sporting to protect the left side of his face. And the question that a lot of folks had was, how would he react to inside pitches during spring training?
I thought that was part of the big risk they took when they gave him the big contract.
Ripped and off the heel of Simmons' glove. Red badge of courage to try to stand in front of that laser beam. But Anderson couldn't handle the short hop, and Stanton's got a 1-out hit. That was smoked.
I'm telling you, another hanging slider almost nailed Anderson because of it. Surprised he even got leather on it.
So Stanton aboard for Michael Morse.
You throw a hanging slider to Stanton, you just be glad that it stayed in the park.
Morse getting to play at home. He's out of Fort Lauderdale. Just up the road a piece. If the Dolphins need a couple of tight ends, they could go with Stanton and Morse and be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
This guy is huge. 6'5", 245. Know him from his days with the Nationals. He's played with Seattle, Baltimore, and last year with the Giants, where he had a big year. And the Giants win the World Series.
I thought when he went to Seattle, that would be a perfect place for him and really be able to help them a lot as a DH, but he was hurt the whole time he had on a Mariner uniform.
Yeah, just 76 games his second time around in Seattle. His first taste of big leagues was 05 when he got to the Mariners. One ball, one strike. Remember Morse playing the outfield with Washington. He doesn't have to worry about that in this gigantic park. I guess the question, Joe, is defensively, how big an upgrade will Morse be over Garrett Jones at first?
You know what? Just catch it. They've got really good infielders. Just catch their throws. You don't have to be spectacular over there on balls hit to you.
In the air to center. And EY's got it. 2 out. And we talked last year, remember when Adam LaRoche was a free agent, we thought, wow, what a perfect fit Adam LaRoche might be to come and play for the Marlins with his defensive wizardry, plus that potent left-handed bat. Adam's with the White Sox now. And Michael Morse will be receiving a World Series ring in the not-too-distant future. 2 outs, runner at first for Martin Prado. Tapped back to mound. Foul. That's Brett Butler, the Marlins third base coach. Think he's going to have fun working with D. Gordon?
Yes, and vice versa. We had a chance to talk to D. Gordon in spring training during one of the spring training games, and he talked about the influence already from Brett teaching him how to be better be a better bunter.
That's past Callaspo, and Martin Prado has a 2-out hit, and the Marlins are threatening here in the 4th, and the peg to third is going to be in time. Giancarlo Stanton out from first to third.
There was nobody at the bag, at least in Stanton's view, but good hustle by Simmons to get over there and take that throw.
He made the third out at third, and Teheran's out of trouble in the 4th. Braves do the little things. They just did.
Yeah, defensively, they're a good ball club already defensively. But one of the things that happened here, there's Julio in place to cover if need be. But Simmons got there in time, got the tag down. What happened was Callaspo was diving for the ball to his left. And when the ball goes through, that means Andrelson's got to rotate over and cover the bag. And Stanton thought he could feed him to the base and didn't.
So the Marlins hope for a big inning. Ends at third base. We're still tied at 1 heading to the 5th, and Callaspo leads off. And he takes a ball outside. Callaspo flied out to center his first time. Last year hit .223 in 127 games with the A's. Going back to our conversation earlier, he puts the ball in play. This spring, 1 strikeout in 69 spring at bats. This one put in play toward left. Yelich near the line, still running and gets there. And while we're only 4 1/3 innings into this game, the mantra of put the ball in play is certainly something to talk about. Braves have not struck out yet against Mr. Alvarez.
That's new and different. If you put pressure on the defense, it's like Freddie Freeman said in the interview we had with him before the game. If you put pressure on the defense, good things can happen. You're either going to find a hole, get a base hit, you make them make a play. It's like Bo Porter sending Jace Peterson home in the first inning, even though Ozuna's got a real good arm. You make them make a play. Not going to work every time. You're going to get thrown out, but get thrown out being aggressive.
Simmons had a great spring, knocked in 13 runs, hit .340, missed some time with an abdominal issue. Stays alive here with an 0-2 count.
Yeah, and that's, I know that was a changeup. Or it looked like a changeup, might not have been it. Anyway, the way he swung at it, 0-2, he was swinging like he's trying to hit the ball to Fort Lauderdale. Shorten up, choke up, Go the other way. Maybe you'll hit more than 244 this year.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Simmons, then Teheran in the 5th. Braves have 3 hits. Marlins have 4 hits. He squirts that ball the other way. Gordon to his left. Settled on the wet grass and made a good play for the 2nd out. I don't know if he was trying to hit the ball to the right side. That was an awkward bounce off the bat.
Might have cued it a little bit. But I tell you, Alvarez is really sharp. Braves got those 2 clean singles in the 1st inning. The balk is what cost him the run. But tons of ground balls and getting early outs.
11 of his 13 outs on the ground.
What is that, 46 pitches? Goodness.
He's only thrown more than 3 pitches to 1 hitter, and that was Freddie Freeman, if memory serves. So he has been effective and efficient. As Teheran bats, he's 0 for 1. Prado backs up. And another ground out sends our game to the home 5th. Good pitchers duel on opening day in Miami. Teheran and the Braves won. Miami and Alvarez won.
Hits a ball to right center field.
There's a drive. Deep right center field. Nixon goes as far as he can go.
I mean, this is a 10-foot fence, and the precision that had to be there for him to make that catch was unbelievable, and by far the greatest catch that I've ever seen in Major League Baseball.
Joe, you were there for that game. As I saw the scoreboard when Otis made what's called the catch. That was like the 8th or 9th inning of that game, wasn't it?
That would have been a game. It was at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, so the Braves are going to get to hit. But that would have been a potential game-winning 2-run homer
that Otis
brought
took
back.
away. Wow.
It was. I almost did. A lot of great plays, but the timing and precision that took. I'm not sure we saw that, but David Justice was jumping almost as high as Otis, like he's got it. He's got it.
Well, that was a great play during that great Braves Pirates rivalry in the 1990s. And who knows, maybe this is the start of a great rivalry with the Marlins. As you mentioned, the Braves have played them tough. They played well in this ballpark. And last year, the season series split nearly evenly, with Miami winning 10 of the 19 games head-to-head.
Here's one of those situations already, Chip, with regard to the speed-up rules. The pitcher makes the last out. He's given the extra time he needs to go back, collect his stuff, get to the mound, and not be worried about that clock that's ticking to try to get the inning started. Jeff Nelson went out and handed him a ball when he got to the mound. Also, I think probably saying, you've got what time you need.
So Julio says he's ready. Teheran's thrown 4 innings of 4-hit ball. And he will have the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. I'd love to see him have an easy inning and start the 6th with the Marlins pitcher. But now an easy out. Ozuna leads off. He bounced out his first time up. And a strike. Bucketfuls of first pitch strikes from both starters today. They've been sharp.
After what happened in the second inning, I really not talk about buckets.
Well, we don't have the only rain delay. There's one in Cincinnati today.
Well, that can happen when you don't have a roof.
It's true. But they do have a tarp.
It's not in center field either.
No. If it is, Marty's going crazy.
He just joined us, had a little trouble. We tried to play the game with the roof open. And it rained.
And Jen reported to us that Marlins tarp is in center field. Swinging bunt. And Ozuna's going to have a leadoff hit. First time Miami's had the leadoff man on against Julio.
Either team. First leadoff man on for either team. The ball's even got a little mud on it from home plate.
Well, let's see if Julio can get salty into a double play. There's another native Floridian playing for the Fish. I think if you asked him honestly, he'd say he would be disappointed in what he did at the plate last year here in Miami, his first season.
I think he was. Did a good job with their staff. They brought him in, to be a good catcher and help their young pitchers, which he did. But he only hit .220, 11 homers.
A little pop, and he's behind 0-2.
2 of those homers were against Atlanta. And 1 off Teheran.
Salty hit to 11 double plays last year. Number 1 miss will be just fine by us. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There was a good waste pitch. You could even see Betancourt come up out of his crouch a little bit and give a high target, hoping Saltalamacchi would chase. A throw over to first sign. They've got a lot of guys in their lineup that can run too now, especially with Gordon at the top. Ozuna, only 3 stolen bases last year. He's not really one of them.
Modest lead for him. 2-2. Strike 3 paints a corner. 1 out. Julio's got his 4th whiff of the game, and now Echeverria bats.
First one looking, fastball, 2-seamer, running away a little bit, right on the outside corner. Great pitch.
So there's the first out. Here's Echeverria. He tapped out to third. Danny did not have a good spring at the plate. 276 last season, but was 7 for 47 this spring. Toward third, foul ball. And Ozuna will head back to first.
We talked about the similarities these two shortstops and how excellent they both are defensively. There is a drastic difference in their approach offensively. Anderson fancies himself a guy with some power. You know, he only hit 7 last year. Echeverria only hit 1, but he did hit 10 triples. He's a gap guy who really can feast on extra base hits in this ballpark by being that type of guy.
Up the middle, Simmons ranges, backhand flip, barehand throw to first. What a double play! Simmons to Peterson to Freeman. What a turn. What a snag by Simmons. And we head to the 6th inning, still tied. Secure your membership with plans starting at just 20 games and get exclusive benefits customized to meet your needs and priority seating for SunTrust Park in 2017. Go to Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100. Ask for Beth Marshall and become an A-list member today. What a double play. The Braves turned a moment ago to force the game to inning number 6.
That was a beaut.
The top 3 hitters are coming up against Alvarez. Eric Young, Chase Peterson, Nick Markakis. Wise pulled the ball to the right side twice. Is 0 for 2.
Eric had a good spring, earned his spot on the ball club with his play, especially his ability to get on base and score runs.
Line drive to center. Ozuna can't hang on. Ball's behind him. He can't find it. Young on his way to second. Throw is hurried, and Young slides in safely.
That was great. A great picture. Ozuna made this great effort. He thought he caught it. He's holding it up to the umpire. All the while, Eric Young is flying around first. I got it. I got it. See? What? It wasn't until the umpire waved safe that he looked in his glove.
So Eric Young Jr. credits it with a leadoff double. And now let's see if Peterson. Here's a chance for some ABC baseball.
Yep.
Got to get him to third base at the very least. Marlins pinch in at the corners thinking he might bunt. He does, and it's a beauty. Only one play. It's to first, and Peterson with a sacrifice gets Young to third for Markakis.
Well done. And Braves fans, get used to it. These guys are going to play, as Chip said, ABC baseball a lot more than you've seen in the last several years. And if they're good at it, if they're consistent and execute, they will score enough runs to win. on a nightly basis. They're not going to pound out 8 or 9 runs, more than likely. But with the pitching staff, they've got a good chance to win a lot of games, close games.
Infield in from Markakis, who becomes the key man in the inning. Last time I checked, to put a W up, you only have to have one more than the other guys.
That's right. But here's that situation I mentioned when we were having our opening comments. The Braves were last in baseball last year in sacrifice flies at 27. The next lowest, Pittsburgh, had 35.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but 8 runs might have won 8 more games for the Braves. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the dirt, good stop, Saltalamacchia. Here are the numbers Joe was talking about. Last in sac flies, 3 from the bottom in bunt hits, and 3 from the bottom in plate appearances and strikeouts. Not a combination to score a lot of runs. The Braves didn't. They were 14th in the league in runs. Bouncing ball right at Gordon. Contact plays on. Played safe. Young beat the wrap. How about that? Speed never slumps, and the Braves steal a run here in the 6th.
I'm telling you, this is going to be fun to watch. Put pressure on the defense. Contact play is right, Chip. That means Eric Young is getting a walking lead down the third baseline, and any contact he's going. Down the line, contact broke. D. Gordon made a nice play and a nice throw. But Eric Young got under the tag.
Mike Redmond was a step or 2 onto the warning track, thinking he might want to challenge the call. He didn't. And the Braves have their 2nd lead of the day.
High tag, looked like right on his back pocket. Yep, even on the back. Good call.
So Atlanta 2, Miami 1. Runner at first for Freeman. Markakis with a 2 RBI day in his Braves debut. Not too shabby. One ball, no strikes for Freddie. A leadoff double, a hustle double, a sacrifice bunt. And on contact, Young sprinted home with a go-ahead run.
And he got the ground ball he wanted with the infield in. This wasn't enough. This guy last year had a 2.5 to 1 ground ball to fly ball ratio. That was the 3rd best in the major leagues, and he's off to a great start in that category this year.
Braves have 3 flyouts in the game. That's it. No strikeouts to this point. It's Freddie. Stays alive. So with 2 strikes, let's see what the Braves first baseman will do. A little shift on for him. Votto way off the line at third base. Echeverria almost behind the second base bag at short. Pitched him away and he took it. 2-2.
You know, this shift right here I'm not sure what it accomplishes, because you got the first baseman anchored at first holding the runner on, so you've got this gigantic hole. If you're going to shift, then go over there with Gordon and plug up the hole and bring Echeverria over on the right side of the bag.
So Alvarez missed with a couple in a row, and he's got a full count. See if Markakis does some running here.
I would guess he will.
He's going. Freeman swinging a miss. Saltalamacchia double clutch. And Markakis hit with the throw, and he's in safely. So Freeman is the first strikeout victim of the day. But Markakis with a steal. He's in scoring position with 2 outs and Christian Bethancourt.
Good crossover step. He made sure he didn't get picked off. That's why he was looking over his shoulder. But what a first game for Nick Markakis. A hit, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. And only in the 6th inning.
And not bad for a guy that only had 25 at bats in the spring. Wouldn't know it today. Let's see if Bethancourt can add to the lead with a 2-out hit. He's bounced out to Martin Prado twice. 4-1. Christian's already had a good day behind the plate. He's thrown out D. Gordon trying to steal. Sharply hit. Echeverria handled the hop and the throw to first in time. Boy, the Braves manufactured another run. It was fun to watch. A leadoff double, a sacrifice, and on contact, EY scores to make it 2-1. Braves 2, Miami 1. Partner, it's a new year. And guess what? It's trivia time. Time for the AT&T U-verse trivia question. We've got to have a much better result this year than last. On opening day 1966, who had the first hit in Braves history?
Let's get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was Felipe Alou.
Felipe Alou sounds right. I think Joe Torre had the first homer.
Oh, yeah. It might have been Torre. I'm going to go with Alou.
Going with Alou? Okay, we'll ponder it a bit. All help is accepted, as you know. As Anderson Alvarez will lead things off. He had the first Miami hit. Came on an 0-2 count. Leo hung a breaking ball to him. He whacked it into the left field corner and then scored on D. Gordon's 0-2 single back in the Miami third. But he and Teheran have both pitched crisp, terrific games. A lot of first pitch strikes. Leo's gone to 2 3-ball counts, and he's thrown strike 1 to 14 to the first 18 men he's faced.
That's great. No walks for either guy. Kind of explaining why they got the opening day assignment.
I mentioned tomorrow night, Matt Latos will pitch for the Marlins. Alex Wood will pitch for the Braves. First pitch 7:10 Eastern time. Popped him up. Simmons drifts out. He'll have plenty of room. And there's out number 1. This is a big out to get right here in D. Gordon. He's lined out, singled, and has an RBI. Look for a bunt, and Gordon takes high ball one.
You know what? This crowd's filled in some. Not near as many empty seats as there were when we started.
Once it started raining, everybody cleared the beach.
Well, I was going to say they heard they close the roof and said, okay, well, we're going to come.
Yeah. 16-minute rain delay here in Miami. Back in the second inning. 2 balls, no strikes. Don't want to walk him. Hit his way on if he can. Reno.
You got to make him hit his way on.
And the thought process there with all the steals Gordon has, you put him at first, he's in scoring position in most situations because he can fly. But the Braves have already thrown him out once. There's another big pitch from Julio. 3 balls and a strike. And he's running full. Fly ball softly hit to left. Kelly Johnson is there, and there's the second out. How about that comeback for Teheran?
And he made him swing the bat. He was throwing, he knew he was taking 3-0. He just grooved the 3-0 and 3-1 pitches and said, here it is. Hit it as far as you want in this ballpark. That's something that the Dodgers complained about and really harped on D. Gordon last year. Hit the ball on the ground.
He's done it once in 3 tries today. Here's Yelich. Christian's 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts. He's had a good one of those today. Teheran had the breaking ball over.
Yeah, and he hasn't overused it. He's picked his spots with the softer curveball.
.82 pitches for Teheran. 2 outs, bases empty in the 6th. Been too many high stress pitches for Julio today. That went up a little bit, but Yelich missed it. 2-2. You can make a mistake or 2 in this park because it's so big. Maybe get away with it with Yelich, but not with the guy on deck. Let's get Christian here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? Not this time. Teheran thought he went around.
So did Freddie Freeman and Andrelton Simmons. They were already headed to the dugout.
Huge pitch in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he goes to here. I think he's stopping. Longer swing than earlier in the game.
Slashed. Foul, and good try by the ball boy. Couldn't hang on. .92 fastball.
He's like Osuna. I got it. What?
Just missed inside, and Yelich walks in front of Stanton with 2 outs.
Oh, that was a good pitch. I'm not saying it was a strike. It was just a good pitch, good location. Looked like they're trying to run a fastball back, a two-seamer, and it didn't quite get there. And it was low. Had the plate, it was just low.
So that's the first walk in the game by their starter. And now Julio has to go to the stretch versus Stanton, who's 1 for 2. Popped him up. Jace Peterson's got plenty of room, and Teheran is through 6 with a lead. 2-1 Atlanta. Kelly Johnson leads off the 7th next. For Kelly Johnson leads off. Time for today's T-Mobile Game Changer.
12 trades, 2 waiver claims, 18 free agent signings. Most of those were minor league free agents, and a huge bump. Depending on which rating service you're looking at, that's about the low end on the rating for the Braves. Minor leagues now is 10th. Some of them have them ranked as high as 5. And then a ton of picks coming up in the draft.
Yeah, you know that Billy Ryan, Dave Trombley, Brian Bridges, Mark Russo, Gordon Blakely, and Chad McDonald are all chomping at the bit for the June draft, part of the revamped baseball operations staff that the Braves have put together under John Hart. Let's not forget Roy Clark, too. All the great work he did for so many years with Braves. He's back as well, and that's another
huge addition, huge return.
So Roy, can't wait to see you on Friday night. The Braves open up against the Mets. Still some more work to do here in Miami. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, there. Friday night, 7:35. We tee it up at Turner Field. Kelly Johnson leads off and strokes one towards center. Osuna got there in time. Nice running catch. Kelly hit it hard, but he's out number 1.
Kelly's a fastball hitting son of a gun and nailed that one, but couldn't get it over his head.
Get an inside look at the upcoming season by attending the Braves leadoff luncheon next Monday, April 13th in the 755 Club at Turner Field. Have lunch with your favorite players, coaches, and executives. Space is limited, so visit Braves.com/leadoff now to reserve your seat. Always a fun event. Chance for fans to meet all the new faces. Plenty of them. Here's Gallaspo 0 for 2. Roberto didn't think so. Ball and 2 strikes. Looping line drive will drop in front of Yelich. So on a 2-strike count, Callaspo has his first hit as a Brave. Boy, the Braves done a nice job with 2 strikes today.
Yeah, and this shows you what can happen if you shorten up your swing, which he's willing to do, and then a mistake pitch. They wanted something down and in. He left it up and out over the plate. So not trying to pull the ball, not trying to do too much with it. 0-2, just put it in play. He hits a line shot to the left.
Kevin Seitzer's the new hitting coach for the Braves, and that's something he has preached from the moment he took the job. Let's see if Simmons can move Callaspo along.
Now you have a great story about Cameron Maybin, who is here and in uniform and ready to go today.
Yeah, we were talking with Kevin Seitzer before the game. Maybin was acquired in the Kimball trade and is in uniform and on the roster. He was apparently watching one of the Braves spring training games that was nationally televised by ESPN. And he was hearing about Kevin Seitzer's coaching philosophy, for lack of a better way of putting it. And Cameron Maybin was really struck by that. And he then went to Mark Kotsay. As Simmons drives one toward the gap in right center. Long run Stanton, but he's going to get there. Simmons hit it hard, but he's out number 2. But Maybin went to Mark Kotsay and said, I like this method of teaching. Can I utilize it? And he was doing that 2 weeks before the Braves acquired Cameron Maybin. So when he got here and met Kevin Seitzer, he was already on board with how he was teaching, what his approach was, what his methods were. His drills, all that stuff. And Seitzer said he is all in and ready to go. So
that's a great story.
We'll see Cameron Maybin at some point sharing the center field job with Eric Young Jr. So 2 outs, Teheran the hitter. Leo's 0 for 2. Aspo still at first. And he shoots one into right field for a hit. So both pitchers have a base hit in their season debut. And now the top of the order's coming up with 2 on and 2 out. And all of a sudden the Marlins bullpen begins to work.
4-seamer left it letter high, so he may be getting tired, leaving some pitches up this inning. Julio last year 7 hits all year. He's got 1 today.
Well, the Brave Mike Dunn is up and throwing. Eric Young Jr. the hitter. He doubled and scored the go-ahead run. He was back in the 6th. Inside corner strike. Now it's 0-2. Gonna have a crack at Alvarez here. Saltalamacchia wants to talk things over with his starter. Braves bullpen's also busy. Juan Jaime was up and throwing a moment ago. And still is.
He finished with the bang in camp. He didn't start out very sharp. He was walking a lot of guys, but tearing it out against Baltimore the other night. Struck out the side. About 95, 96.
Down the right field line, but just foul. That would have scored 1 for sure, and maybe Teheran 2, but he just pulled it foul.
Great adjustment by Eric Young in that they got a called strike on an inside that he kind of moved back away from. Alvarez tried to come back in there for the strikeout, and Eric was ready for it.
Pitch off the plate. Now let's see what Eli gets with a 1-2 count. Struck him out. The Braves threatened but failed to add to the lead, and we have our first seventh-inning stretch. 2-1 Atlanta here in Miami. Hey, it's Masters Week, and the Braves with a ping offense lead by a 2-1 score here at Marlins Park. Great pitching from Julio Teheran. He's matched Henderson Alvarez 0 for 0 today as the final strains of God Bless America greet this nice crowd in Miami. Defensive changes for the Braves. Eric Young Jr. will move from center to left, and there's Cameron Maybin. He will make his Braves debut defensively here in the bottom half of the inning. So always good to see a Braves center fielder wear number 25, huh, Jen?
Well, and Cameron Maybin is so excited about this opportunity. In his words, he said he grew up tomahawk chopping. He's from Asheville, North Carolina, grew up watching the Braves, and is excited to have a fresh start this year after a disappointing year last year where he missed time with injuries and suspension. And I asked him, okay, well, when did you get here? He said, 6:30 this morning. I took the red eye, but I got a lot of energy. I'm good. And I've been watching him here in the dugout, and he's been all over the place. Even before he knew he was getting ready to go in, he's handing guys towels. He took Kelly Johnson's batting helmet a few moments ago, brought that back over to him, and now he's getting a chance to put the cap on himself and get out there. And you know he's excited. Said he likes to bring a spark wherever he goes. That's how he described his role on the team.
He can go get him. I know that, Jen. And you're right, Chip. Anytime a center fielder's got number 25 on him, maybe that was by design for him. Because you know he was an Andrew Jones fan.
So the Braves upgrade their defense up the middle with Cameron Maybin. And Julio Teheran, what a day he's had.
Retired the first 6 in a row. A couple of strikeouts of Stanton and Morse early on. He's walked 1, struck out 4 on the day. He's had a good fastball, a lightning fastball from the get-go. Started off around 94 miles an hour. It's about 92 right now. But only the 1 run allowed, and it was a weird run in the regard that an 0-2 hanging slider to the pitcher that was hit for a double, and 0-2 hanger to D. Gordon, a single and an RBI. All that with 2 out, nobody on in the 3rd inning.
So Julio can navigate his way through the 7th. It sets up very nicely for Freddie Gonzalez, who can go with Jim Johnson for the 8th. And if you heard Jen Hildreth's chat with Freddie before the game, Jason Grilli is going to get the first crack at closing out the ball game should the Braves have a 9th inning lead. So you see Cameron Maybin. He's a former Marlin as well. Cool story on him. I'll tell you about in a moment. Here's Morse. Teheran missed down low. Cameron Maybin's first career hit and first career homer came off Roger Clemens. Believe it or not. What do you think happened in his next at bat after the homer?
Oh, a little dusting.
He got hit by Roger Clemens when he was with the Tigers back in 07. And then Cameron Maybin was part of a franchise-changing trade. He was part of the Miguel Cabrera trade. Saw Cabrera go from Miami to Motown. Back in the 07 season. In the air to right. That's a base hit. Markakis will cut it off. And Morse represents the tying run with a 7th inning single.
This guy is so big and strong. You talked about him earlier, Chip. What'd you say, 6'5", 245?
Yeah.
I love his swing. It's a long swing, but look how he's got his hands away from his body. And this time, looking for something maybe down and away. He got something down and in, was still able to hit it to right center field. He's going to be a great addition to their ball club.
Martin Prado's 1 for 2. Memory serves, Martin made so much contact with the Braves. He's a guy that would hit a lot of double plays too. Hit 20 of them last year. This would be an ideal spot for Teheran to earn his 2nd double play ground ball. Good action on that pitch. Even count.
Right at the knees. 92 pitches so far for Julio, so he's stretching it out a little bit compared to spring training. Freddie Gonzalez would love to get him through the 7th. Oh,
low, I suppose.
Julio thought it was a good pitch.
Jim Johnson, Luis Avilan up in the Braves pen.
I guess a little low.
Lined over third, a hit for Prado. So the Marlins have 2 on with nobody out. Not hit hard, but hit in a perfect spot.
Well, Martin's a smart hitter. He's a smart ball player. And what happened here, this was a changeup. And Julio kind of lost his mechanics on it a little bit. He really slowed his action down, his arm action down on it. And Martin's all over it.
First visit by Roger McDowell. With nobody out, you might think about a bunt in this situation. Marcell Ozuna has a grand total of 1 sacrifice bunt.
Well, that's one of the things when you got a lineup that is stocked with hitters like they have. You get into these situations, and the Braves found themselves in these type situations the last couple of years where they played for a big inning. And they're only down a run here, yet you've got a guy up there that you wouldn't ask to bunt because you don't ask him to bunt. You want him to swing away. Let's see what the fish do.
Ozuna had a swinging bunt for a hit last time up. Marlins have only 2 at-bats now in this game with a runner in scoring position. This is the 2nd. Just outside. Ball 1. Ron get a little antsy out there.
Making some good pitches too. He's just a little off. That low pitch to Prado didn't get the call, but still a good pitch.
To right field. That'll get down for a hit. 3 straight singles by Miami in the 7th inning. And the bases are loaded for Jared Saltalamacchia with nobody out.
That fastball just came back. Betancourt was set up away. They wanted to kind of tail it back over the outside corner, but it came back to the middle.
And that's going to be the end of the line for Julio Teheran. 3 straight hits to begin the inning. And he'll leave with the bases loaded, nobody out. Braves are in their bullpen and still ahead by a run. And the New York Mets are in town. You'll experience a pregame ceremony celebrating 50 years of baseball in Atlanta. You won't want to miss it. The ceremony starts at 7 o'clock sharp, so get to Turner Field early. Tickets are going fast. Get your tickets at Braves.com/tickets today. 6+ for Julio Teheran. Luis Avilan ready for his season debut.
Yeah, the Braves want the 2013 version of Luis Avilan. 5-0, a 1.52 ERA in 2013. Last year his ERA was up a full 3 runs. His strikeouts were down, his walks were up in fewer innings pitched, and he really needs a ground ball here from the switch hitter. Slow runner.
And that's Jared Saltalamacchia, who had 23 of his 44 RBIs from the 7th inning on last year. He's sitting in the catbird seat here. Bases loaded, nobody out. And the Braves up a run. One ball, no strikes. Salty has struck out twice, once looking, once swinging today. Had him fooled badly. Even count.
Good changeup. 2 years ago, Luis had that 94, 95 mile an hour fastball that had a lot of action on it. He could really run it away from right-handed hitters.
Ground ball to third. Callaspo's coming home for 1. Ping to first. Double play.
Really smart play on the part of Callaspo. He was near the bag at third, which might have made you think, well, he could just step on third. But you got to cut off that tying run first, get him first, and then worry about getting a second out. And the Braves did.
So what a debut for Luis Avilan.
Great.
He gets a double play ball. Runners at second and third, 2 outs now. And the 8th place hitter for the Marlins, Echeverria, coming in next. Plan starting at just 20 games and get exclusive benefits customized to meet your needs and priority seating for SunTrust Park in 2017. Go to Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100 now to become an A-list member today. Well, the Braves have 2 big outs. Julio Teheran left with the bases loaded, none out. Avilan got a double play, and now Jim Johnson makes his Braves debut.
Yeah, those are ugly numbers for him last year at those 2 stops, but this guy saved 51 games in 2012 and 50 games in 2013 for Baltimore. 6'6", 240 out of Johnson City, New York. Heavy, hard sinker when he's on.
And Echeverria, the batter. There's the sinker, and it's yanked foul. You heard Freddie Gonzalez say before the game he likes the idea of Jim Johnson pitching outside of the 9th inning because he can go more than 1 inning. That would certainly be possible today. If he can get through the 7th, he got the 8th in the top of the order, and then Grilly for the 9th. Right off his shoe tops again.
That's 2 in a row at 95. Boring in on his kneecaps. This guy had a lot of suitors in the offseason despite his troubles last year, because everybody knew what he had before and they felt like he had a chance to get healthy. But one of the primary reasons he came to Atlanta was to work with Roger McDowell and get that sinker back.
He's a strike away from sending it to the 8th with the lead. And it missed. Johnson, you mentioned, back-to-back 50-save seasons. Only one other reliever had done that, Eric Gagne. In 2002 and 2003 was the first with back-to-back 50-save-plus seasons. A ball and 2 strikes. Little pop. Will it stay in play for Freddie? He's got room, and the Braves are out of it. Bases loaded, nobody out. And Atlanta holds the lead. Avilan and Johnson, what a debut. And we go to the 8th with Peterson, Markakis, and Freddie coming up. House. Joe and I will join the crew to break down all of today's season opening action from Miami. It's Braves Live after the game, presented by Xfinity. What a game. Well pitched, great fundamentals, and the Braves got out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam in the 7th to hold the lead. And now they'll face left-hander Mike Dunn in relief for the Marlins.
Excellent year for him last year, serving as a setup guy from the left side for Steve Cishek. But 10 wins out of the bullpen, that's not too bad. And a lot of strikeouts, better than 1 per inning. Formerly with the Braves.
Still have Peterson, Markakis, and Freeman, 3 lefties. That's why he's on here for the 8th inning. See what Chase can do against Mike Dunn. He's had a terrific debut for Atlanta. Singled in his first Braves at bat. Took second on a balk. Scored on a Markakis single in the first. Laid down a key sacrifice that led to the go-ahead run for Atlanta back in inning number 6. That's with the bat. How about the double play turn he and Simmons cooked up back in the 5th inning?
Didn't get a great feed and had to catch it barehanded.
Always a test for a young player in the major leagues, lefty versus lefty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But you know what? He's been playing every day in the minor leagues. Lefty, righty, doesn't matter. So you figure if he was holding his own against left-handed pitchers in the minor leagues, he ought to be able to do the same here.
One ball, 2 strikes. Fought it off. Will stay alive. Julio Teheran, 6 innings plus, 8 hits, no runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Beg your pardon. 1 walk for Julio. Beg your pardon. One run for Teheran, not none. Remember, it's almost spring training for the announcers, too. Anderson Alvarez went 7 innings for the Fish. He gave up a couple. And Peterson took outside.
Well, it's close.
Get that line score for Julio right. 6 innings, 8 hits, a run, a walk, and 4 strikeouts.
Hello again, everybody.
Hello again, everybody. We're back in the saddle. The rain delay threw me off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he got it. Peterson was reaching. Dunn's off to a solid start in his debut. 1 up, 1 down for Markakis. Nick's debut with a couple of RBIs and a stolen base. And his Braves debut is today's Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Yeah, way to break in. Base hit and an RBI his first at bat as a Brave. Got the RBI thanks to some good base running by Eric Young. The go-ahead run in the 6th and swiped the bag.
Didn't mean to, but went around for a strike. Even count down, 2-2.
Laid off 2 breaking balls. He's had a good heater, 94. See if he tries to go back to that outside corner.
Going out there again, 2-2. And he got it there. Perfect pitch.
Perfect. This is one of those where you hear the hitter say after the ball game, you know, if he can put that out there again like he did the first pitch, then I got to tip my cap to him. Well, that was exactly what happened.
Base is empty for Freddie. He's 1 for 3. And he took inside against Mike Dunn. Freeman has a home run against Mike. One of his 3 career hits against him. Another one here would extend the Braves' lead. It's 2-1, top of the 8th. A one and done frame for Mike. His spot's due first when Miami comes up.
I like that.
One and done for Dunn.
Dunn was part of the Dan Ugla deal. And played today for Washington. By the way, Bartolo Colon beat Max Scherzer today. Bartolo Colon, the oldest opening day starter in Mets history, at 41 years of age, won 3-1 today at Nationals Park. And Buddy Carlisle got the save.
Oh, hey, Buddy.
Former Brave.
Never say die, Buddy Carlisle.
Yeah, he's out there again, huh? Red Sox beat Cole Hamels 5-0 today. Colorado beat Milwaukee 10-0. And the Dodgers and Padres tied 3-3 in the top of the 8th inning at Dodger Stadium. But Kershaw started for LA today. Here it's 2-1 Atlanta. Bases empty, 2 outs. Top of the 8th. Strike 3. Dunn punched out the side. Can't do any better than that, can you? Jim Johnson back to work in the home 8th. 9-1-2 for the Marlins.
Works Aero Cart. Go to aerocart.com to see the only 8-in-1 all-purpose lifter, carrier, and mover that lightens every load.
Big ovation for one of the game's great players. Ichiro Suzuki is making his Marlins debut. First ever game he's played in this ballpark. He's the first Japanese player in the history of the Marlins franchise, and he's sitting on 2,844 North American Major League hits.
Two for 6 in his career against Johnson.
One ball, no strikes for Ichiro. He did not go around. A lot of folks around baseball whose eyebrows were really raised when Ichiro became a Marlin. We've talked all day long about how good their outfield is and how young that outfield is. Where in the world is Ichiro going to get at bats for the Marlins? Obviously situations like this, as he broke his bat, and Freeman will take it to the bag to retire Ichiro for the first out.
He'll be their number one pinch hitter off the bench. He'll be the guy coming off the bench with game on the line and runners on base late, and he will spell any one of the three guys that need a day off. He played most of his career, as you know, in Seattle, which has a retractable roof, and he was probably curious, like the rest of us were, about why it was raining here earlier.
Things are different here in Florida, as we know. But the Marlins were so intent on getting Ichiro into this organization, as Gordon bats, their entire front office, Dan Jennings, Mike Hill, Jeffrey Loria, David Sampson, they flew to Japan to personally recruit Ichiro Suzuki and sold him on what they were trying to put together here in Miami. And Ichiro was so touched by that he said, okay, I'm in. And he debuted today. And Ichiro can't lose sight of D. Gordon. Critical at bat in the game right here. He is bringing it.
No nonsense there.
But it's a beauty. Oh, Gordon fell down, and he's going to be an easy out. What a break for Atlanta. Gordon laid down a beautiful bunt and fell down 25 feet down the first base line.
I bet he scared Mike Redmond to death. The way he laid there, it looked like he was hurt. This was a beautiful bunt. It was going to be a base hit. No way they would have gotten him. But that little man in third down there tripped up another guy.
I think the Marlins trying to break the Braves' hearts with the rain delay. Soggy first base line and all the diamond drag. Cost him a butt hit. That'll show him. Right there.
Yeah.
Christian Yelich with the bases empty and 2 outs.
Yeah, the clubhouse guy for the Marlins is not going to know what to do trying to get this drying agent out of their home uniforms. They've never had it before. Oh my, what a nice change. Great motion on it. 95 to 89. Beautiful.
So Yelich way behind. A ball and 2 strikes. Into the second deck. By the way, didn't mention the attendance. 36,969 announced as a sellout.
Well, their capacity is 37,442. But they did fill in. There weren't near this many people here when the game started.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Good try, but it missed. Stanton's on deck. He got him.
Took a little off again. I mean, that was a 90-mile-an-hour changeup.
Avilan and Johnson, spectacular relief work. And we head to the 9th. A bases loaded, nobody out situation, partner, in the 7th inning with the Braves up a run.
Didn't look so good, did it?
No.
Saltalamacchia, a bouncer to third. Callaspo to Bethencourt to Freeman. And that was the 5-2-3 double play. Jim Johnson came in and got the pop-up from Echeverria. Bases loaded, nobody out. They don't score. Great job.
Those were our great clips of the game, and this one moves to the 9th inning with Atlanta up by a 2-1 score. Here's another tough pitcher for Miami, A.J. Ramos. Tough to beat, 7-0. He's a guy that Braves have historically not hit well. Let's see if they can do some damage here in the 9th. With Christian Bethencourt leading off.
He and Dunn take turns working the 7th and 8th inning, depending on the matchups, to set up the closer Cishek. This guy, as you saw, had a great year. He was 7-0.
7-0.
Dunn won 10 games out of the bullpen. Not bad.
20 appearances by Ramos against the Braves. 17 of those 20 games have been scoreless. Lifetime .221 ERA against the Braves offense. There you go. Yep. Ball popped away right to the pitcher, who tried the tag and then had to flip backhand to first to get Christian Bethencourt. That's out. Number 1. Time for our trivia question, and hopefully a successful answer. AT&T Universe sponsors our trivia. As always, who on opening day in 1966 recorded the first hit in Braves history?
I'm going to stick with Felipe Alou.
I said Joe Torre. He had the first homer. I think Rico Cardi might have had the first hit in 1966. Let's see if I'm right.
Way to go. You know, you can't get them all right if you don't get the first one right.
Still batting 1,000, aren't we?
Way to go. Yeah, we are.
Hey, here's Cameron Maybin. His Braves offensive debut for Marlin. Came on for Eric Young in the 7th inning to play center field. And down away, ball 2. This is going to be a very flexible offensive team with lots and lots of interchangeable parts. You will see myriad lineup combinations. You will see Freddie Gonzalez play matchups for the most part. Maybin certainly will be able to man all 3 outfield positions if he had to. Eric Young could play second. He can play all 3 outfield spots. Callaspo could play everywhere in the infield with Chris Johnson at third base. His most likely destination.
He had a good spring at 301 in the spring with a homer. But when you put him in the outfield, you want him in center.
Right.
You don't need to mess with the corner spots, because this guy is an elite defensive player.
Fly ball out of play. Full count to Cameron Maybin. Last 5 Braves hitters have gone down via the strikeout. See if Cameron can end that streak. He can't. Tipped and caught. 2 outs in the 9th.
The Braves had struck out 1 time through 6 2/3 innings. They've now struck out 6 straight batters.
Aspo has his first Braves hit. That came last inning. Nice job at third base. Started the big 5-2-3 double play to help the Braves get out of that bases loaded, nobody out mess. He went a couple of times in the game. Aspo has been rung up.
The new closer for the Atlanta Braves looks ready.
ought to get a good pitch here. 3 balls and a strike. He didn't. That is the first walk issued by any of the Marlins pitchers today. Here comes the 2 outs. And Andrelton Simmons looks for his first base hit. If he can reach, Johnny Gomes will bat. He's grabbed a piece of lumber and stands in the on-deck circle. Prado to his left. He'll go the short way to second, and that'll send this game to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's a new era of Braves baseball, and their new closer, Jason Grilli, will try to seal the deal in the home ninth.
Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, 24 hours ago, I don't think there was anyone in the world who thought that Jason Grilli would be the man closing games for the Atlanta Braves. But Craig Kimbrell is now a Padre. Grilli's got the ball with a 1-run lead. And, Jen, there is a Grilli-Kimbrell connection beyond that unique situation, is there not?
Yeah, a little one at least. Last night, I saw Craig Kimbrell come back to the team hotel. Traffic. He couldn't get to the airport. And the last guy I saw him give a hug to was Jason Grilli. So who knows, maybe a little bit of a passing of the torch there. Certainly Braves fans hope Grilli can fill those very big shoes left by Kimbrell.
And he's got Giancarlo Stanton to start the ninth. And ball 1 high.
Mike Johnson, he throws hard. Still averaging better than a strikeout per inning pitched over the last 3 years. Part of that big renaissance of the Pittsburgh Pirates 2 years ago. Got him to the postseason for the first time since '92. And he's got to be amped up.
Last year, the Braves played 53 one-run games. They won 25 of them. Marlins played 64 one-run games and won 35 of those.
That was the most by anybody.
Ripped off Bethencourt's equipment. Stanton was trying to hit it through the sculpture, and he just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
Pretty much said they're 2-0. Here it is.
Six sent off target. 3 balls and a strike. Stanton, Morse, and Prado for the Marlins in the ninth.
He did not walk a batter this spring. Got a little help there.
That's where the Braves have gone to get Stanton today. He's not had much luck with that high fastball. Would he dare go there again?
No walks, 11 strikeouts for Grilly in spring training in 8 innings.
He struck him out. Grilly got Stanton. What a rally for Jason. One away.
There's no question how Jason Grilly feels when he's on the mound. He lets you know. Very intense, tough competitor. Been here before.
But another big home run threat in the box in Michael Morse. Breaking ball for a strike.
Great call by Betancourt. All those fastballs to Stanton. Morse is sitting over there watching that, and they start him with a front door breaking ball.
.95 and right on by. 0-2.
Dad pitched in the big leagues, had a very good career. Steve Grilly.
I remember too, Jason was a Marlin a long time ago.
Briefly.
2000 and 2001. Not a play foul. He is a real baseball vagabond. He's pitched in Calgary, the White Sox, the Tigers, the Rockies, Texas. He's been just about everywhere you can pitch.
But you look at his career, Chip, and when he missed all of the 2010 season with elbow surgery, it's like that resurrected him. That's when he really began to find his mark and become who he is today.
Morse went around on a breaking ball, and Grilly has struck out Stanton and Morse, and the Braves are an out away.
One big out to get.
Prado's had a good day, as has Ozuna, who's on deck. They have 4 of the Marlins' 8 hits combined.
Another breaking ball couldn't stop his swing. Tell you what, his fastball, you can understand why he's been talking about grilly cheese. Because there's some queso being run up there.
Yes. There is. No balls and a strike. Braves Live coming up next, hopefully. And really takes care of Martin Prado. Right there for strike 2.
Pitch he wants to use here. 0-2, and we'll waste one.
Line to second, and the Braves have won it. Jason Grilli saves it for Julio Teheran, and the Braves, with this ABC brand of baseball, win the 2015 opener in Miami by a final score of 2-1. Just how the Braves scripted it. That's exactly the way they played today.
Well, and he did waste one upstairs, but still Martin hit it hard. But the way they scored today, the way they played defense with 2 big double plays, and the 2 guys at the end of the game that were under the microscope, especially Johnson and Grilli, do their job and get everybody out that they faced and look good doing it.
Braves beat the Marlins. 2-1 is your final. We're off and running in 2015. Good ball game today. We'll recap it for you in a minute.